exactly who wins between those two guys, because my money, it's going to be on the snake, but at the same time, Simtom, he seems to have the antidote.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get his revenge from Genesis. But we have our next game on our hands here. It's going to be Leenock versus PuppyPaw. We're going to be jumping in pretty soon. It is going to be an Abbasid mirror on Dry Arabia.
Very interesting. Abbasid Dynasty, a civilization that is taking over. We're going to be jumping into it very shortly. Leenock versus PuppyPaw. These two players, incredibly talented. Let's jump on in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first game in the series between Leenock and PuppyPaw, spawning in the north of the map. It is going to be PuppyPaw playing the color blue, and on the Abbasid Dynasty, towards the south of the map. One of the favorites for the tournament, it is going to be Leenock, who is playing in the red as the Abbasid Dynasty as well. So we've got ourselves a little bit of an Abbasid Dynasty mirror, Mitoe. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many town centers they choose to go for, right? Like in a mirror, you often want to be the person who's just a little bit greedier than the opponent, and sometimes in these Abbasid mirrors, you can see these mind games where like, oh, he's gathering stone, he's going to go for a second TC. Well, I'm going to gather 600 stone and go for a third TC. And then it's like, does the other guy also go for a third TC? Does he go for a fourth TC? So there's definitely a lot of metagaming you could do in this matchup. You could also see some early timings to try and punish. Like, if your opponent is too greedy, you could try to go for a faster castle age and get some siege out and be really aggressive. So there's definitely some options. We'll see what they choose to go for. But so far, it looks like, just looking at the mini-maps here, I think they've got just mirrored builds. They've both gone to berries, and both just trying to gather up to age.
Okay, well, I'll be looking forward to seeing how it evolves. Now, one of the things I want to pick your brain about is town centers, because as you know, Abbasid Dynasty, probably the civilization that will most go for town centers more than any other civilization. And so, I guess the question is, what is the golden? What is the Goldilocks zone here for town centers? Because I guess one of my fears is that, let's say you spot your enemy, he's going for 2 town centers, and then you pull out 3 town centers, and then they pull out the 3rd town center. If you go for a 4th town center, is that too much? Are you going too crazy?
I think usually it's too crazy, especially on a map like Arabia, where you can get attacked from all angles, and you're probably not going to be able to defend as easily. But I mean, if your opponent is also on 3 TC, like, it slowed them down a lot too. Maybe it's worth it. I don't know. There's definitely diminishing returns when you start adding that 4th town center. Like, it's just not going to be improving your eco as quickly. So it's probably not worth it. But I mean, maybe we just haven't seen that part of the meta yet in the Abbasid mirror.
Well, I guess I'm reminded of a game that I played. It's similar. I mean, it's Abbasid Mirror and Chinese Mirror. I think they're both very similar. It was on Hill and Dale, and I went for 3 Town Center Song Dynasty, and my enemy went for 2 Town Center Song Dynasty. And even though you eventually overtake your enemy with villager count, you lose so much momentum in that mid-game period that it leaves you vulnerable. It leaves you open to a timing push. And even if you manage to survive that, it's not like you've really come out ahead with a huge lead, because your enemy is still sitting on a huge amount of town centers themselves, so they're just going to be able to catch up. They'll be right behind you. So, yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting discussion. But after speaking with a lot of the guys at N4C, Leenock included, they definitely seem to be of the opinion that 3 town centers was the perfect amount. It was not too hot, not too cold, just right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So far, neither of our players, though, are gathering any stone at all. There is a mining camp going up on the stone for PuppyPaw, it looks like, but nothing for Leenock yet. Oh, actually, I think I might be wrong. Looking at the minimap, it looks like he might also have a mining camp going down. Yep. So it is going to be both players going to stone with a couple of vills. Probably going to be opening up with a military building, likely a stable or an archery range, and then just trying to apply a little bit of pressure and then add that town center later. Nope, I should stop talking because PuppyPaw now has 7 villagers on stone, and he's going to be getting that town center up as fast as possible.
Yeah, so this is definitely something we've seen unfold with the Abbasid recently. So it's the wheelbarrow into fresh foodstuffs into second town center build order. And I think the question is, what's the fastest? What is the fastest time you can get that second town center down? So I've been theory crafting that one with a guy by the name of Kanoki. He's great when it comes to doing these numbers, and I think he's managed to get it down to about 5 minutes and 25 seconds when that second town center gets dropped with wheelbarrow and with fresh food stuff. So let's see how fast these guys can get their second town centers down, whether they're going to be able to compete with the theory crafting expert Kanoki or not. But you can see both players here also hitting their golden ages as well. Still, we've got one golden age yet to come through for PuppyPaw, but Leenock has already hit that one. And he's also going to be looking for that second town center. But PuppyPaw about to drop down his. You can see we're sitting at about 535. He's going for it. Going to be on the berries? Where's he going for this one? This is quite far away. Oh, is there a potential block coming through from Leenock? Oh, there was too. Little bit of a cheeky play there by Leenock. Probably, yeah, just looking to try and delay that town center a bit, but going to get dropped down about 540. So not a bad time there at all from PuppyPaw.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference in the build orders there, with Leenock trying to rush that tier 1 golden age before getting the town center. And that's, I mean, he's going to get a little bit of an eco boost at first, but that is going to set him behind in the villager count just a little bit.
Now we see a second town center getting dropped down from Leenock. Instead of going on the berries, going to be dropping it down on the hunt. And not a bad idea here. Obviously, the mill nowhere near as important on a hunt that considering, on the berries. Obviously, the mill on the berries is going to increase the amount of berries that are there, whereas a mill on the hunt doesn't actually do anything other than offers itself as a drop-off point. So will we see the third town center? I suspect we will. PuppyPaw gathering up 300 stone right now. Leenock sitting on 215. So indeed, it seems to be the meta. Players both going for 2 sets of a town center each, or 3 sets. Yeah, goodbye to the sheep. And then probably looking for a fast castle. You can see PuppyPaw already on that gold now quite heavily.
Yeah, so it is going to be, as you said, 3 TCs for both players. Yeah, I mean, now it doesn't look like anyone is going to go for that 4th TC. I'm a little bit sad, but that's fine. And yeah, we'll see what they choose to make as their unit composition here. Or if they just try to rush for an age up. What do you think is best?
I think in this situation, so I actually watched a game that Demuslim played, exact same matchup, similar map, and interestingly he went, so both players go for fast castle, Demuslim just went for full crossbow, because typically what you would do in this position is go 3 barracks, 3 archery ranges, go into crossbows and men-at-arms. But obviously full crossbow beats crossbow men-at-arms. But at the same time weak to mangonels, so he was making springles with it. But obviously then the issue is that if there are too many spears and too many men-at-arms, that at the same time you're going to get potentially pushed by those and you'll lose your siege. So what was he doing? Dropping down castles, dropping down a keep to prevent that from happening. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see players look to gather up some stone as well, look to even drop down an aggressive keep.
Yeah, but obviously we'll wait until they're going to Castle Age. Looks like it's actually going to be double stables here coming up from PuppyPaw. And that is going to give him a little bit of potential to harass. They do have, with the extra Pierce Armor, a little bit more survivability against those defensive town centers than infantry would. And I wonder if he could even try and go for a timing here. But actually looks like he's adding another military building as well, just south of the screen here. It is going to be an archery range, it looks like.
Yeah, so
and that's probably going to be for a camel archer.
Yeah, going into camels and horsemen. This is really interesting coming out from PuppyPaw. He hasn't clicked up, has he? He actually hasn't clicked up. He's playing feudal. He's going to look to play a full feudal in this situation. Leenock, on the other hand, about to click up, but at the same time, still yet to do it. And there is a huge window that is opening right now for PuppyPaw. At first, I was looking at this and I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? Is he going into knights or something? Nope, he's not going into knights. He's playing feudal.
Yeah, he's going to try and apply a little bit of pressure. I can't imagine that he's not going to try and age behind this, but he is definitely going to try and kill some villagers first. But So this is going to be an interesting situation where he's got a little... Ooh, a forward tower. Maybe it is full feudal.
This is really interesting.
The defensive tower coming out.
Leenock now racing to beat his enemy up. You can see that town center going to be firing off at those horsemen. Barely taking out a villager. I'd love to know whether we've got textiles on those villagers. Looks like the outpost does get cancelled, so he does force that out from his enemy. Loses a villager there. No textiles coming out for PuppyPaw. No textiles out yet for Leenock. So both players looking to just sort of match it out. But you can see that PuppyPaw probably looking a little bit more towards going up to that castle age now. You can see stacking up that gold, stacking up food as well. But really getting out his numbers of units.
Yeah, I think he just wants these units to try and restrict Leenock's resources a little bit. You can see him just sitting on this gold mine. I don't think Leenock actually has access to gold anywhere at this point. This villager maybe gonna eat some damage from these spearmen. I don't think the camel archers are nearby, so that tower is probably just gonna get denied. Oh, well, there is actually a camel archer coming in now to reinforce. And yeah, I mean, without gold, you're not going to be able to get a lot of those important Castle Age upgrades. You're not going to be able to train units super easily. Maybe he can build a market and sell some resources to get out some men-at-arms, because they're pretty cheap on gold. But the main thing is you're not going to be able to be constructing any siege.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think that PuppyPaw has definitely bought a little bit of time here. The issue is obviously going to be the window that his enemy finds, because obviously Leenock, he's going to have a lot of military production buildings down. He's going to be able to create a lot of units and really get in his enemy's base before his enemy can start to build up a mass. So now we see PuppyPaw. He's sitting on 12 military units at the moment, but when you consider that Leenock's probably going to be focusing on getting out, his own spears, men-at-arm combo, then that's really going to be difficult to deal with. But we'll take a look at Leenock's base. I want to have a look at the production that he's got hanging out in his base at the moment, because you can see he's got a couple of camel archers in queue at the moment. Looks like he is dropping down a whole bunch of barracks here, so 4 barracks in total. Yeah, 4 barracks going to get dropped down. He's already got 1 barracks as well, so that is a lot of production.
Yeah, he's definitely transitioning full into man-at-arms and spearmen, trying to get that siege mass going as well. But I actually kind of like PuppyPaw's position here. He's up, looks like almost 7 or 8 villagers at this point from getting those town centers earlier, killing a couple of the villagers here, and he's really positioned his units well to like control these resources and force a response from Leenock. The one problem I see for PuppyPaw here is he's got a lot of horsemen, and he's probably not going to find them to be very useful in the actual fight. So it's kind of just like resources that he's put into units that are just going to get countered by the spearmen and the men-at-arms. But at the same time, the extra income from the villagers is going to offset that, so...
Yeah, that's a really good point. You can see that Leenock's actually down on the villager count as well by about 8 villagers at this point in time, and it's going to continue to extend out now, going up to 9 villagers. Leenock's going to wake up right now. He is losing villagers on this stone mine, not paying attention. You can see another villager going to be running down, finally manages to pull these villagers, and PuppyPaw starting to build up a lead here. 9 villagers up for him at this point in time, but at the same time, Leenock has so much infrastructure down. Look at these. Look at the amount of infrastructure he's got here. It's huge. Phalanx coming out. Yeah, also veteran spears coming out. Ooh.
A lot of military buildings. Starting to drop mosques as well, it looks like, to get those, start collecting those relics. That could potentially help him catch up in eco a bit here. But that might hurt his military mass a little bit, and maybe this counter push is going to be slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, we also see a siege workshop getting thrown down in the back of the base. To me, this indicates trebuchets, because when you think about what else they can make, I mean, obviously, Abbasid, they can make all their units out on the field. They don't need to make a siege workshop. Maybe upgrades as well is another option. But you can see Leenock...
These axles, yeah.
Yeah, just having a lot of trouble right now with these raids coming through. Once again, you know, we've seen out of Leenock a bit of a meme develop where he just doesn't make walls. Is there just a lack of walls coming through right now? Is this really what's hurting him?
I mean, this is Arabia. This map is very open. If you really try to invest in a wall, it's going to be a lot of resources. He is doing it now, but that's a lot of resources. And those villagers are going to be pretty exposed while they're building the walls, right? I guess it's a necessary evil at this point, but I would say on Arabia, it kind of makes sense to not go for walls if you don't have to. But yeah, I really like the way PuppyPaw has played this so far. He's put himself in a really good position. He's up 20 population now with almost a 20 villager lead, and he's just looking really strong.
I can't believe Leenock is building walls. It didn't take him that long. I honestly thought it would be like the year 2025. Leenock has finally discovered the hotkey for walls, but he actually picked it up in 2022, so impressive stuff from him there. But it looks like this wall going to be going up. Villagers doing a little bit of a difficult walk around there, but now...
They're trying to go for the mill on the other side,
yeah.
I think.
they could have just built the gate and then gone through, but, you know, that's difficult. But now we see Leenock running out of resources on the front line, starting to stack up his wood as well. At the same time, look at the population difference starting to build up right now for PuppyPaw. PuppyPaw playing incredibly well considering the disparity or the difference between these two guys and their ranks. I mean, coming into this, you would see Leenock as a very stiff favorite, but now we see the mangonel shot. Oh my god, that was huge damage on those crossbows.
Yeah, it was a really good mangonel shot. A second one going to come in, do a lot of damage too. But the keep in the back is going to be going up, and that's not going to be something that is going to be easy for Leenock to deal with without rams or trebuchets.
Fortunately, he's got the siege workshop. He's getting greased axles at the moment. He's going to be easily able to go into trebuchets because he's already got that siege workshop ready to go. Oh
yep,
my gosh!
Just continued harass from PuppyPaw here, always checking the resources, being very on top of that, and really impressed that he hasn't lost these units yet. Well, I think he lost them just now as he got trapped in the corner next to the wall, but those are some aggressive lumberjacks there.
Yeah, it's one of the consequences of commanding every lumberjack to gather the tree at one time. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think there's 3 per tree as long as it's not a straggler. If it's a straggler, you can have like 10 per tree, but otherwise it's just 3 per tree until it's chopped down. But now we hear those wolves going off at the 16th minute. They managed to get cleaned up. At PuppyPaw going to be under attack as a knight comes out. Spear's going to be doing a great job of cleaning this up. They've got a camel here as well to reduce that damage in the event that a fight does break out. But he's doing a really nice job of multitasking him on this western side of the map, harnessing his inner GUA right there.
Yep, just constantly these small groups of units looking for places to fight. Gonna walk into the spearman again.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible damage. Leenock definitely trying his best to get back into this game. You can see he's down about 15 villagers at the moment, so it's going to take some time before he's able to claw in an economic lead. But he's going to be trying his best. You can see that the spears are going to get chased down by the knights, but so many archers on that backline, he's really going to need mangonels to help him out. Look at the texts that are coming through right now. We're seeing boiling oil coming through for PuppyPaw, as well as what looks to be veteran horsemen.
Veteran horseman, that's interesting. I mean, his macro makes a lot of sense for that. He's stacking a lot of food, and you can burn the food really quickly by making horsemen. It does give him a lot of flexibility, too, to continue these really mobile raids and maybe just continue the pressure that's been working out for him so well this game. But what is he doing on the south of the map there? PuppyPaw has some villagers next to the stone and the gold on the right. Is he trying to build more keeps down there? Oh, that's crossbows. Oh. Sorry, I thought they were villagers.
Yes, the classic villager carrying the crossbow. So it's the new technology. But yeah, it's an interesting flank that he's going for. But I do like the way that Leenock is walling up. But I can't help but feel a little bit claustrophobic for him at the moment. He's getting attacked from multiple sides. PuppyPaw really looking to tighten the grip that he's got here.
Yeah, and he's completely fearless with these crossbows, too. If there were any horsemen or anything out for Leenock, these crossbows would be in a lot of trouble, but he's seen just how many production buildings Leenock has for his infantry, so he's maybe not too afraid of any horsemen or anything like that.
Look at these raids coming through from PuppyPaw. This is really interesting. He's raiding with crossbows on like multiple angles, archers and crossbows up to the north, crossbows to the south. You know, 5 horsemen would absolutely clean up these forces, but obviously not going to be the case. And now PuppyPaw looking to siege down Leenock. You can see Leenock still managing about a 20 villager deficit compared to his opponent, but obviously that second town center, rather the third town center, when it goes down, it's not going to be pretty. But once again, raids coming through. PuppyPaw looking incredibly strong as he hits maximum population right now. We're 19 minutes into this, and he is looking incredible.
Yeah, he is doing super well. He's now max population, killing so many villagers here next to this keep. Just happy to trade that. But the siege mass is starting to grow for Leenock, and that's definitely going to be something that PuppyPaw is going to have to contend with.
Yeah, and we can now see upgrades coming through for PuppyPaw as well. At the same time, these crossbows just being very annoying behind the enemy lines, I guess attacking the villagers here. Not a lot of resources left now for Leenock. He's managing to get back behind the lines. Villagers just healing up like crazy. Still got the deer around the town center ready to be gathered up, but you can see the spears now going to be looking to protect the siege here as the horsemen
are
run in.
Getting onto the trebs.
The horsemen do indeed get on top of the trebs. You can see the Wallalow going to be coming out. He looks to try and repel the horseman. The horseman actually managed to find targets in another area. Horseman actually goes down before it can be captured. At the same time, the crossbow is going to be firing off. Villagers underneath the trebs actually healing it up. And now you can see those spears just going to be looking to get out onto the battlefield and actually do some serious damage. He's finally cleaned up those forces that were behind his base and begins to move out. Those trebuchets continuing to throw their rocks towards that keep. Slowly but steadily, they take it down.
Yeah, Leenock behind this. He's held the fight. He's now got the superior military, at least in this location. And yeah, the superior siege as well. And this could potentially be an opportunity for him to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's not looking terrible for him. You can see the villagers under the keeper are trying their best, and they almost... I suspect that's insufficient wood over there. Indeed, it is insufficient wood. He was down to 13 wood at one point in that, so PuppyPaw losing out on the castle, on the front line. Going to be looking to pick up a second one, but now Leenock in a decent position here. You can see that the military population has begun swinging. At the same time, healing up this town center on the back line, continuing to lose villagers. You can see the deficit, and look at the villager count for PuppyPaw. He's at 145 villagers.
What a madman, just getting the absolute maximum economy, still putting up these raids. But, I mean, at this point, Leenock's at 120 vills himself, right? Losing a few villagers isn't a big deal. He can replace those pretty quickly. What is a big deal is that Leenock doesn't have a lot of food income. He's got 300 food per minute compared to PuppyPaw's 1,700. And he's going to have to be making that farm transition right now at a critical moment when he has a military lead and he wants to be pushing.
Not to mention, he's got absolutely no wood in the bank from all the healing that he's done on that town center. That town center was healing up like crazy. He kept that thing alive for probably close to like 3 or 4 minutes. It was just being shelled by the trebuchets. And now once again, we see those trebuchets unfolding, but PuppyPaw looking very, very strong in this position. Look at the income for him. It's just looking impressive as all hell.
Yeah, he nearly has the resources to go Imperial Age while still being max population. So yeah, definitely looking very strong for him. But he does have to find a way to deal with these trebuchets, or they're just going to continue put this slow push.
Yeah, and we see now all of the Springles have been taken out by PuppyPaw. PuppyPaw losing all of them. The trebuchet is going to continue pushing up at the same time. Horseman going to be coming in for him here, so not looking terrible. But at the same time, he's got a lot to worry about because PuppyPaw's got a huge economy behind this. Map control. He's able to move out to all the berries, out to all the gold, the stone that he wants, whereas Leenock's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place in the back of his base.
Yeah, he definitely is. And these trebuchets just trying to take out the lone trebuchet PuppyPaw had in the north. That trebuchet is going to live, it looks like. And Leenock is going to be forced back for now as this archer mass is just huge.
This isn't looking good for Leenock. His military force is down to 24 at the moment. PuppyPaw on 41. But keep in mind, PuppyPaw has a a villager population of 159 right now. He is maxed out. He is absolutely skating away when it comes to his economy. I'd love to take a look at the production back in the base of PuppyPaw and just see what kind of numbers we're looking at, because he's just pumping out units non-stop to this front line. And you can just see.
Look at the units in queue. He's got 16 horsemen in queue behind this. Leenock's only got 4 knights.
Yeah, this isn't looking... This is not looking pretty at all. You can see that the trebuchets running back through the base, trying to keep them alive. Leenock knows how important it is to keep these guys alive. You can see he's starting to stack up resources as well. A couple of men-at-arms going to be looking to clean up the archers on the front line. And at the same time, the second town center going to be going down, which leaves Leenock with only 1 town center, which isn't a terrible position considering he's got 124 villagers. But at the same time, I mean, compare that over to 3 town centers from PuppyPaw, and he's up to 164 villagers. Look at the madman go. He's on 165 villagers.
You don't stop till you're at 200. There's no need to stop.
Yeah.
You still got the military lead anyway, right?
That's a really good point. I mean, yeah, you're at how many villages does he get to? What is the bet right now? Because I'm going to bet, you know, probably doesn't go higher than 165.
It would be crazy if he goes higher than this. His military, like he could be ending the game right now with this. If he had 60 less vills and just 60 more units, but instead he is getting just a massive eco lead. He's going up to the Imperial Age. He's going to be getting those Imperial Age upgrades with those extra resources from those villagers, and he's just going to have a really strong position from that point on.
So I think it really comes down to the difference in openings that we saw. Obviously, PuppyPaw went for a very early camel plus horseman combination after going for that 3 town centers. So he goes into the 3 TCs, then goes into the military. And then as a result, normally you would go into a fast castle from that, but Leenock didn't have the ability to gather up gold to make actual castle age units, because that's what you need to make those castle age units. And PuppyPaw just really took advantage, built a lead from that, and just continued adding it in slowly but steadily.
Yeah, for sure. And something that's so interesting about PuppyPaw's composition this game is he's not made any spearmen or men-at-arms. It's all been ranged units and horsemen. And I think that makes a lot of sense considering that he knows his opponent built all these barracks and doesn't have, like, very many stables. And he knows he doesn't really need things like spearmen to defend against them, and this just gives him extra mobility. The horsemen are stronger against the enemy siege if he can get on top of them. And he's just utilized it really well.
And now we see that Imperial about to come in for PuppyPaw. There it is. A new age has begun. And I suspect Leenock, after seeing that's probably going to tap out. You can see at the moment Leenock having such a terrible time against PuppyPaw. PuppyPaw just sitting on 200 population, maxed out. Plenty of resources in the bank. He's going to be able to afford a lot of units after this, but still Leenock trying his best just to heal up. He's sitting on 4k gold at the moment and just obviously doesn't have the APM to trade it out. But now a Madrasa going to be coming down for PuppyPaw. He is not skipping a beat when it comes to this play.
Yeah, PuppyPaw is looking to be in a great position. I don't think you resign yet as Leenock, though. Like, he's still got 130 villagers. His economy is great. He just needs to stabilize. He's got 5 mangonels out now. Well, now 4, that one died. And mangonels can always swing a game as well. But there's Springalds on the back now starting to pick away at those mangonels.
Yeah, I think that's where it really starts to get hard. Obviously, yeah, I think it's interesting that you can stack up. You know, once you start thinking about like 5, 6 mangonels, well, you know, then they can even take on horsemen. They can take on knights, men-at-arms, all that stuff. But obviously, a single Springald comes out and, yeah, it's all over Red Rover.
Yeah, if PuppyPaw just finds this position on the right side of the map where there's like 100 of Leenock's villagers, I think that would be GG. But for now, he's content to just continue flooding units into the main base here, whittle down the production, keep taking these trades. If he can just keep trading these units off and forcing Leenock to invest into more units just to hold this, he'll for sure be able to wait until he gets all those really strong Imperial Age upgrades. Leenock's not going to be able to follow him up to Imperial, and then he'll just be able to create a game-ending army.
Yeah, we see now biology coming through as well as incendiary arrows. Leenock also going to be losing his keep if he doesn't repair it. He's got plenty of wood in the bank, so Leenock's girlfriend not going to be too worried about that one. But now we see the units continuing to push through the base. PuppyPaw looking incredibly strong, going to be capturing up those sacred sites and trying to close out the game.
Yeah, look at the military population for Leenock. He's got 6 units left right now, and PuppyPaw's just stayed consistently at 200 population. I think we might be seeing a GG pretty soon. And there's just nothing coming from Leenock here. He's got 3 crossbows in queue. He just doesn't have the food income that he needs to win the game, or to get back into this game.
And
yeah,
good
there we
game
go.
gets called. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. 28 minutes through the game, Leenock taps out. He says, I tell you what, it was a tough game, and you played it better than me, PuppyPaw. Good game. So, very well played there from PuppyPaw. We'll take a look at the villager count. You can see PuppyPaw always just slightly ahead. Military count, probably going to be the same story there as well. You can see it definitely a bit of a fight, but Leenock did have a pretty decent push or decent timing potentially happening, but obviously didn't go his way.
Yeah, that was really well played from PuppyPaw. I'm very impressed. Like going into this series, you look at Leenock and you look at his results in N4C and on the ladder. He got second place at N4C. He's very high up on the ladder. He has so many games played, and he's just such a strong player. But PuppyPaw didn't shy away from that. He's like, I think during N4C people were saying, Leenock's got some of the best, like highest APM, best multitasking in the tournament, and here you have PuppyPaw who's just got units running circles around him this game.
Yeah, it looked very impressive. I'd be curious to know, and I'm sure people in chat probably wondering as well, after that amazing performance from PuppyPaw, I mean, as you mentioned, Leenock sitting consistently, very high in the rankings. How high is PuppyPaw? And the answer is, at the moment, he sits at rank 41. He is a 1900 rating on the ladder. So on the one PuppyPaw account, so he might have some Smurf accounts, he's played 242 games with a win rate of 65%. So it's pretty darn good. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect a 1900 player to be able to take Leenock on in that kind of style. Just really outplayed him. It just looked impressive, really.
Just really well done. Had a game plan. He executed it really well. Even just small things, like getting the town center up like 30 seconds, 40 seconds earlier than Leenock. Ooh, I'm gonna go with Mongols. I think there's a lot of potential for them on this map with the trade boom. I guess if he doesn't go for trade, I would be a little bit less confident in that, but well, with the spawn, too, with the gold mine, I'm going to say Mongols is probably going to take this one.
What a beautiful spawn. But by the same token, look at Leenock's spawn. He's got that berries as well as the deer spawn. So very, very juicy. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 between PuppyPaw and Leenock. Spawning in the north of the map on the color red, playing the Chinese. It is going to be Leenock, and it's always great when the red player spawns as Chinese because you've just got the colors that just all match up. They all synergize so perfectly together. So Leenock looking very, very decent. On the other side of the map, in the color blue, playing as the Mongols, it is, of course, PuppyPaw.
And looks like...
As you mentioned, it's such a beautiful spawn that he's got right here. He's got his gold, he's got his wood line, everything's nice and tucked in. The only thing that he's going to find difficult is that Uvu. And if you have a look at the Uvu, it's all the way at the back here. So he's got to be careful. It could potentially get picked up here if Leenock does see this. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a few pastures get thrown down on that. But, yeah, they may potentially get intercepted.
Yeah, that's true. It is pretty far away from the town center. But I don't think it's super easy to harass this Ovu either, if you even get into that position with China, just because with the cliffs on the sides and the town center being like directly in front of the Ovu here, you're going to have to go kind of out of your way to go around that town center, and you're going to put your army at risk if you're going to do that. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. I don't imagine Leenock will probably play super aggressively, but I don't know. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of changes to China recently on the patch that have occurred. One of those being changes to the Imperial officials. So we can already see his Imperial officials, he's got 2 of them out and going to be collecting up that gold from his infrastructure around the base. PuppyPaw, at the same time, going to be just slowly but steadily gathering up his sheep as well. No real sign of any interesting or any indication of what's going to be happening. Normally when I see this kind of thing, I'm thinking like, all right, well, it's got to be trade. Like there's no other way that he's possibly doing it here. And you can actually see he's scouted out the trading post in the back right hand corner of the map. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is indeed trade.
Yeah, I think especially if you're going to pick Mongols on Altai, of all maps, you definitely come in with a game plan. And yeah, to me, it feels like trade kind of makes the most sense here. I mean, we'll see in a moment he's going to be building that landmark, if it is the silver tree or the deer stones. And that'll give us a good indication of what he's going for.
And it is going to be the deer stones. So...
Oh, there's no trade. No, why?
So, okay. I guess that sort of begs the question, where does he go from here? Do we see a fast castle coming out from him? Do we see... One of the things that we have seen is this very aggressive mass archer play. I think it was something that Hunt liked to do, where you would just go for a huge amount of archers in the early game. But obviously, then that kind of gets countered by the Barbican. Always going to be a risk. And the Chokunu. Let's not forget about the Chokunu.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Leenock's map here, he doesn't have, like, there's no forest or cliff or anything in the front of his base. And it's actually, like, quite open. The only thing that's going to be defending this is going to be the Barbican. And maybe that gives Mongols a little bit of flexibility to try and, like, set up some forward outposts and apply some pressure or something. I'm not sure. We'll have to really see what he tries to go for, but yeah, he's for sure going to be looking to try and I don't know how you deal with this Barbican, actually. Like, this is covering both the gold and the stone, and it's pretty close to the hunt as well.
Yeah, and I think just a nice little wall over to the side, which is exactly what it looks like that villager is going to be doing. Denying out the counter villager from PuppyPaw here. I wouldn't be surprised if he even looks to extend out that wall a little bit further. And there it goes. The wall coming down on the front line. Oh, I apologize. That's an outpost. That is an outpost.
There was a wall there, but it looks like he ended up canceling that.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, so you see this outpost coming down right now as Leenock. What do? Do you pull villagers? Do you know, what are you doing here?
I feel like you could easily pull one vill here and deny this outpost. Maybe Leenock is just waiting a little bit. This scout might take out this villager by itself in a moment here. It's going to be very close to going up.
Yeah, the villager down to 7 health. It's going to be one more hit after this one. 3 health remaining. I think it's going to go down before the outpost gets up. And Leenock definitely winning a very small battle in a much larger game plan. But that outpost still very close to being completed. If that does go up, it's going to be in a pretty decent spot. Because keep in mind, he's going to be able to deny both that stone, both the, oh, look at this. Oh, this is terrible timing. He tries to get that town center down. Not a lot of success. And blocking it once again, being so difficult to deal with, that Mongol Khan. And now that outpost going to be coming up, and you can see the attack speed arrow going to be coming out. He's looking to focus down these villagers. Keep in mind, he's still got to research the arrow slits before this bad boy starts doing real damage. He's probably going to be able to get this town center up, but I think PuppyPaw is going to be pretty happy with the positioning of this.
Yeah, and behind this, look at PuppyPaw's production. He doesn't have any. He's just saving to go Castle Age behind this. And Leenock going for kind of like this slower 2-town center build. Maybe could get caught unawares by an early Castle Age push.
Yeah, this is very curious. It's something very, I wouldn't necessarily say rare, but it just seems very strange to be going double town center against the Mongols. I mean, I guess the reality... See, and this is the curious thing for me. Like, I don't know why he let this outpost come up. I don't know why he just didn't... I would have pulled, like, 10 villages and just immediately, you know, siege this bad boy down. This outpost getting up is such a big risk for Leenock, because at the same time, you can see that town center. It's training up villagers inside of it. But at the same time, those guys are going to have to come out. And when they do, they're going to get focused down by that outpost. You can see right there, the arrows raining down. He manages to take that villager down. How much health is on that villager that gets out of there alive? Looked like it was probably about 20 health left. If a couple more units,
half HP.
Yeah, if a couple more units get in this outpost, he's not going to be able to make a single villager from that.
Yeah, that outpost is really, really strong, but just not enough units yet to make the most use of it. Yeah, every single villager going to be down to 24 HP. And you know what, even at some point later in the game, that can still be useful, that extra damage. You can pick up the villagers so quickly if you find them in the right spot. So, like, even though he's not losing the villagers yet, that damage does matter.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. But now you can see that the villager has evacuated, so just going to be the 2 arrows that get fired off towards that villager. And now moving forward, there's a couple of archers out here as well. Second villager, or at least a villager, going to be returning to the front lines here, looking to try and shore up their position over on that side. Villager count starting to pull ahead for Leenock, as you'd expect with the second town center, but has put down that second production building. Archer range moving back towards the Uvu as well, so could potentially be thinking about dropping down a few more archers, but at the same time, look at the resources right now. He is very close to castle.
I really like where this villager is going. Is that just going to be placing an outpost down on the wood line in the back of Leenock's base for later? Okay, looks like it's going to be next to the berries there, but I think this is still a great location for this outpost. He'll see if Leenock sends any villagers out to this hunt or berries. And he can start creeping more towers in the back there, potentially.
Yeah, now we see that step out coming up as well. So he's going to be in a great position. Now the question is, what kind of composition does he look for in Castle Age? Is it going to be Lancers? I wouldn't be surprised if we just see full Lancers coming out from him here.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. One thing you have to think about against China is that they do have those hand cannon emplacements in their town center and the Barbican instead of the arrows. The Lancers are a little bit less tanky against China, but I think it would still be a really good option. They would do so much damage to these low HP villagers. If he just got the right position, he could really do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and speaking of a lot of damage, that villager going down, and this is the consequence of that outpost getting up. The Song Dynasty going to be coming out for Leenock here. He immediately drops down villagers and looks to try and shore up his population space. He's sitting at 39 out of 40 at the moment. Going to be cornering the Khan here. Khan going to be going down if it's not careful. Second horseman going to be running in. I don't know where PuppyPaw is right now, but it looks like he might have fallen asleep at the keyboard because that Khan goes down. It's not a pretty position to be for a Mongol player, losing that Khan like that.
Nope, but now he's got a couple more units in this outpost, and the TC, as you were mentioning earlier, no longer is going to be able to make villagers. Leenock, in fact, has just cancelled the villagers at that town center.
Well, this is the great thing about Age of Empires 4, is if you want to train villagers out of that town center, you can't actually rally them into the town center. They must exist outside the town center and then go inside of it, which means they take shots from outposts. And it's something that definitely helps out for more aggressive civilizations, because typically you wouldn't think of that as like an actual thing. But now we do see a proxy coming down. Great job by Leenock there pointing that one out. But he is training up a villager, so let's just watch it get evaporated on the front here. We hear that villager being created. He's on 40 vills at the moment for Leenock. Oh, let's watch it. Here he goes. What's he training? Is he training a vill? Let's see. There's the... Oh, it's an Imperial official. Okay, that'll survive. Surely that will survive.
Yeah, that has more HP.
Oh, God. Down to 31. Jeez. So, yeah, very close. But now the age up going to be coming through for Leenock and tapping away that astronomical clock tower going to be doing it. So probably going to be looking to go straight into a trebuchet. But we see the Lancer coming in. Huge amount of damage. 2 villagers taken down so far. 3rd villager going to be going down. A bit of a difficult spot here. He is caught with his pants down. This is not looking good for Leenock. Villager count slowly but steadily getting evened up here, Mitoe. I don't think there's any way he manages to win this. This is crazy.
Yeah, the villager count, he's behind in villagers now, despite Song Dynasty and 2 town centers. And you can see just how impactful the low HP on those villagers is now. He's just killing so many. This one knight has got 7 kills.
Jeez, it's not looking good right now for Leenock. 2 town center Song Dynasty. It's so greedy up against Mongols. How can you even justify this? What planet is Leenock on right now that he thinks this is going to work? And look at the outpost firing down on those villagers down on the mill.
Wow, this is a great position for PuppyPaw to be in, and he's got a stable in the back there just to produce those knights in a more convenient location. That official going down.
And a villager as well. Oh my God. Now, the best part of this for me is, like, we talked about this at the very beginning, and we're like, you know, what's the best reaction to this? And I don't think anybody in their right mind would have said, oh, he should just let it get up. That's not a problem. That single outpost has caused more havoc than... I don't even know what like, a havoc causer.
That is easily one of the most valuable towers I've ever seen. Completely shutting down a town center by itself. It's killed so many units, it's damaged so many units, and allowed the knight to finish them off later. It's just such a good position for that. Yeah, like a really critical mistake, as you're saying, for Leenock to let that go up.
Yeah, I really don't understand the thinking behind it. Maybe just a little bit of nerves coming to him. You know, it's not quite the first round. This is the second round now that players are entering into. But yeah, PuppyPaw definitely demonstrating his strength, his prowess in this situation. And now actually going to be looking to pick up relics behind this. You can see that he's getting a shaman out as well. So definitely playing for the late game. And now a traction trebuchet getting built on the front lines here as well. There's the prayer tent going to be moving around, zooming around the map, following that shaman with its relics.
So with this trebuchet, do you just ignore that second town center? It's already useless. Like, why would you need to attack it, right? Like, you just go straight for the Barbican? Okay, he's attacking it anyway. It is gonna, like, mean that if this tower ever goes down, that town center isn't around anymore to be used.
Yeah, it's a good point. it is just so, it's so crazy to me the amount of damage that single outpost did. That outpost, I just can't fathom it. It is crazy. But now once again, going to be falling in on that wood line. Plenty of damage coming out. We see 2 villager bodies on the ground there. 39 villagers for Leenock up against the 44 for PuppyPaw, and jeez Louise, it's not looking good for Leenock right now. We could have an upset on our hands. I don't think coming into this, anybody really suspected that Leenock would be on shaky ground, especially up against the Mongols as his favorite civilization, the Chinese. Chinese, just a civilization always in Leenock's hand. You know, you'd never bet against it. You would never bet against it. And it's wild to see PuppyPaw doing so well with it.
Oh, I love that he's taken that trebuchet, set the town center on fire, and he's not even going to finish off. He's just going to let it burn down to get the extra damage in on that barbican. Like, no villagers can go to repair that because of the outpost, so...
Yeah, definitely. And this proxy has been so effective as well, just constantly having a reinforcing flow of cavalry coming in. Gur going to be dropped down on the forward, because why the heck not? I mean, you got everything else up here. Might as well bring the Gur as well. But, yeah, Traction Trebuchet going to continue doing work. Second landmark going to get, or rather first landmark going to be focused down here, the Barbican of the Sun. And, actually, this one's for you. I'm not too sure. Does he lose his Song Dynasty if the Barbican goes down? Or will he keep that?
No, I believe he keeps that.
Okay.
And behind this, too, PuppyPaw's not neglecting his economy either. He's starting to collect those relics, starting to build up that passive gold income. And, so, yeah, how do you recover from this position as Leenock? I guess you've got to get some Springalds out to start to deal with this siege.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it. I think it was just an incredibly critical mistake from Leenock to not only go to Town Center, but to go Song Dynasty as well. I've seen players in this matchup just find it hard to justify Song Dynasty by itself, let alone a 2 Town Center Song Dynasty play. So just very, very greedy here from Leenock. Not sure exactly what he was thinking. A bit of a Hail Mary, it seems like. I feel like if he played Standard, it probably just he would have been fine. You know, just wall up, play Song Dynasty into Fast Castle, that sort of thing. He would have been A-okay. So, yeah, very curious decision coming out from him. But, yeah, in this position, what do you even do to get back into it, like, with... I generally... Well, I don't know.
It seems like Leenock has a plan. He's not making Springalds, and he's not making Trebuchets deal with these towers. Instead, he's making a lot of Nest of Bees. And I think maybe part of the plan here is to just hope for a position where those Nest of Bees can get such a good shot that they just eliminate most of the volley before the Springald, or most of the army before the Springalds take them out. And then maybe he can, like, kind of snowball from there, but it's tough to imagine a position where you can even get that kind of trade.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. I think the big part for me is because obviously the Mongols, they've got so much scouting information with their outposts up. They're constantly in the base doing raids. He spots this. He knows that this is coming. And so, as a result, he's already got Springalds out. He's got 4 Springalds out already, which is enough to one-shot those Nest of Bees. So, yeah, it's an interesting position that he would think that he could be able to one-shot it. Poor villager going down there. He's lost enough villagers today. He's going to lose another one to the Bitey Infantry. Terrible damage. Terrible, terrible damage.
Yep, and PuppyPaw is just playing this so patiently, too. Like, just setting up all the forward towers, getting just the slow push with 1 Trebuchet, getting enough Springalds to make sure that Trebuchet never goes down, and just slowly pick up the relics, and yeah, he's not taking any risks here. Yeah, because the one way that you probably lose this as PuppyPaw is to dive that town center or something like that, and just, like, lose all your units to those extra arrows and everything.
Yeah, now we see those Nest of Bees that you mentioned firing off. I don't think they hit a single target there, but that's all right. They will eventually get there. But now you can see the outposts on the back line here have got their Springled emplacements, and they're slowly but steadily firing down on the enemy. And now Sacred Site's being captured up. Already 3 relics in the bag here for PuppyPaw. So he is doing very, very well with his economy. He's up 5 villagers, also up 3 relics, and going to start working on the Sacred Sites. Are there 2 Sacred Sites or 3? I think there might only be 2. So it appears that we've got the bug. Oh no, there is a 3rd one. My mistake. I'm legally blind.
Where is the 3rd one? I can't see it.
It might be a stone? Or maybe that's a stone. Maybe I'm not legally blind. But speaking of legally blind, look at the in the base right now of Leenock. PuppyPaw are actually going to be trying his best to get that sprinkled, not having any luck. But yeah, over towards the right side of the map, I'm assuming that's just a small stone, isn't it? It's hard for me to see from back here. Everybody looks like ants.
Yeah, it looks like Leenock's going to be taking a bit of a risk to try and get this keep up on these resources at the front and try and slow down this push a little bit more, but I don't think there's anything to defend these villagers. The knights are getting around top of it. There's the sprinkled advantage here for PuppyPaw, and this is looking really bad.
Yeah, you can see a couple of horsemen going to be coming out and looking to try and siege down those sprinkleds, but the sprinkleds going to be looking to trade out with the nest of bees very efficiently, and now also men-at-arms looking to come back up. All the villagers have gone down on that castle. You're going to need to call doubt after that one because it is it's not looking pretty, and all of those units getting sieged down. Crossbow's going to be moving forward as well, looking to clean up any potential armored units, and good game gets called. Leenock taps out, PuppyPaw victorious, and we have got ourselves an upset on our hands.
Wow. I would not have expected Leenock to go down 2-0 there. And let alone, like, in games that I would say PuppyPaw was never at risk of losing. He just executed the aggression so well in both these games. Always hit just the right pressure points in Leenock's base. And just really well executed. That was really great play.
Yeah, I got to agree with you as well. For me, I think the most interesting part was the choice of strategies coming out from Leenock. Especially in that second game. So the big thing obviously is China is a civilization that really loves to boom it, loves to, you know, just really start making those villages, getting them out on the map. But the difficult position that he's in is that he's up against the Mongols, a civilization that loves to be aggressive, a civilization that loves to get in your face, get in your base, and take you down. So obviously every bit of food that you're spending on villages, you're not spending it on either tech or units.